as the mystery behind the killing of 17 soldiers in Okuama continues to unravel. Residents of the Niger Delta community are crying out, accusing the military of high-handedness and not allowing them to return to their normal livelihood. Also, an Urhobo community union in Delta State, known as the Urhobo Progress Union, UPU, is urging the government and the military to conduct thorough investigations and ensure that only the perpetrators of the crime are punished. Arise correspondent Jemima Boloko has more.
Amid the national shock over the devastating loss of 17 military personnel, including high-ranking officers in Okuama and Urhobo community in Ughelli South local government area of Delta State, the perpetrators remain at large despite the military releasing images of 8 civilians suspected to be involved in the killings. One traditional ruler among the accused, Clement Ogenerukewe, has voluntarily surrendered to the police in Asaba, the Delta State capital, denying any involvement in the heinous act.
I'm on my way to the police to declare my innocence to the police. I know nothing about this heinous crime. I'm the traditional ruler. Yes, I'm the traditional ruler of a Urhobo kingdom. However, I know nothing about it, and I'm going to the police to turn myself in.
In a telephone conversation with Arise News, Edafe Bright, the police public relations officer in Asaba, the Delta State capital, confirmed that the alleged suspect was transferred to the military for questioning. Now, the Urhobo Progress Union UPU is urging the Nigerian government to conduct thorough investigations to prevent innocent citizens in Okuama and neighboring communities from facing undue harm. President of the union, who is also a lawyer, Ese Guam Owe, emphasizes on the need for the release of the detained monarch while conversing a meticulous investigation to safeguard innocent lives.
If a person is to be declared wanted, it should be seen that first and foremost there was an invitation. If that invitation is turned down, there should be a repeat invitation. But from nowhere, you say a professor, a lecturer in the university, Delta State University, and the President General of a kingdom is declared wanted. Now, having said that, we, the Urhobo people, we condemn that declaration in an unmistaken terms. Then, the worst of it all is the conduct of the Commissioner of Police. This majesty gave himself to the police. Now, the police on their own, in trying to run away from their statutory duties, handed over our Royal Majesty to the army, thereby making the army the complainant, the prosecutor, the judge, and the jury in its own court.
As Nigerians mourn the loss of the soldiers, the UPU highlights the pervasive atmosphere of fear among the residents of Okuama and nearby villages.
Our people died. Human beings died in the process. In the process, a whole community, as we are told, was raised down. Raising down a community made up of children, young women, and then elderly people. The story is that some soldiers were killed. I want to say for those who care to know, if they don't know what happened and what led to that event, they should dig deeper. In digging deeper, they will find out what actually happened.
While the people of Okuama and neighboring area strive to resume their daily routines, the UPU is urging the government to urgently intervene and restore peace to the region. Jemima Boloko, Arise News, Warri, Delta.
Joining us now on this show as we dig deeper into the unraveling of the Okuama killings of 17 Nigerian soldiers amid accusations from members of the community is the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. Good morning, General, and thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.
Thank you, Dr. Abbott. It's a pleasure being here.
Well, General, first our condolences on the death of the 17 soldiers. But now the Urhobo community and other communities in the Niger Delta are accusing the Nigerian military of high-handedness, making it impossible for people to return to their communities, declaring 8 persons wanted, including a traditional ruler, not allowing the community to bury their dead. That's on one side. On the other side is the legal question that has been raised. Namely, that the military in investigating and handling the matter is overreaching itself, because both the Constitution and the Armed Forces Act, do not give the military the powers to arrest civilians, that is, to investigate, to prosecute, and that is the function of the police. And even as grievous, as tragic as this situation is, that what the defense headquarters should have done is not to declare people wanted, but to hand over the matter to the police to see to its logical conclusion, since civilians do not fall under martial law. What do you have to say in response to these two major criticisms out there in the public?
Thank you, Dr. Abati. It's always a great pleasure.
Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I didn't get your last comments. But just first and foremost, let me just appreciate Nigerians and Nigeria for standing by the military. People have commiserated with us for the death of our colleagues. And I'm really, really very happy with the responses. I received letters of condolences from all over the world, not only in Nigeria. People tend to understand that the military is established as the authority of the government to protect Nigeria and to protect Nigerians. And that is why we view it we take it very seriously when criminals take laws into their hand against members of the armed forces or any security agency or any citizen of the country. The issue of the Okuama issue, the attack was premeditated just because there are a group of criminals, cultists, militants, that because they make a lot of money from crude oil theft, believe they are above board. And they did this deliberately just because the commanding officer and his team were ensuring that any acts of pipeline vandalization, crude oil theft, illegal refineries were completely eradicated from that region. So that's part of the issues that came up. And you can see the Lieutenant Colonel himself is a very, very gallant, was a gallant officer. He was a commanding officer. Had the privilege of being his theater commander in the Northeast. He did extremely very well in the Northeast. We brought him here to stabilize the North Central. He did. He went to the Northwest. He equally did the same. So for him to be killed, just like a chicken, beheaded, disemboweled, I mean, that is unacceptable. And we're happy that the Commander-in-Chief has given us a mandate to recover the arms to arrest the perpetrators. Now, I know a lot of comments have been made by different kinds of people, some from lack of understanding. When you have a joint task force involves members of the armed forces, that's the Army, Navy, Air Force. We have the police, the DSS, the NIA, every other security agency are part of it. So when we have arrests, we have joint investigation team. So it is not like the army is taking laws into their hands. And, you know, I've had comments about what were they doing and all this. And once we are deployed on operation, we have the right and the mandate to arrest all acts of criminality within that area. So they were there deployed legally. They were doing a legal operation. And it was because the commanding officer felt the threat was not that high. That was why he went there and felt he could discuss with the individual. He did not go armed. That gallant officer, if he had gone armed, he will erase everybody in that place. But he felt these were people he knew, these are Nigerians that he could talk to. And when he stepped up to talk to them with his team, they were rounded up and all shot. And not only shot, their body parts were cut, their hearts and private parts were removed. And I think that is one thing that all Nigerians should stand against. I've heard the Robo leaders talking. Yes, I have very serious respect for elders. But I also like elders to also speak from position of strength. They cannot say they do not know what was going on there. I'm sure you are aware that since they decapitated the bodies of those guys, there's a lot of human sacrifice that is ongoing within those general areas. And it was just part of them showing, a way of saying that they have strength. And that's why they were able to cut the heads, cut the hands, disembowel them, remove the hearts, and these other things. I don't know what was that for. What was the intent? But whatever the intent is, we remain focused, we remain committed. If you notice, again, our operation was highly regulated. I mean, ideally before now, it would have been a situation where we would have gone and flattened all the communities within the area. But it was measured because we felt not everybody was involved. But we know that a lot of people knew what was going on and kept quiet. And so that makes them complicit. But like I said, it was a major operation, it was a major response. We are conducting cordon and search operations to thoroughly search for our weapons and to arrest those that carried out this dastardly act. I'm happy with the traditional ruler that submitted himself, which is the best thing. I wish all those other ones that were in the pictures will also equally do the same. We are not animals, we are not barbaric, that will just go around killing people. If they had not touched our armed forces, nobody would have been there. We have lived peacefully with them. We have encouraged them. We conduct civil-military relationship. If you go to most of the communities, we provide amenities for them just to show them that we are not an occupational army. We are the Nigerian armed forces, and we are here for Nigeria to ensure that Nigeria is peaceful. So I just want to make that little clarification, that they were legally deployed, and with their mandate, they are authorized to make arrests. They are authorized to interrogate, because we have a joint interrogation center that work together as a team under the Joint Task Force. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, General CG Musa. And it's good to see you here come to clarify some salient issues that have made headlines and have been a topic of conversation, particularly with what's happened in Okuama. But you touch on the traditional ruler praising his move to surrender himself for investigations, aside to others whom you've declared wanted. A number of people are wondering, what is the status of the traditional ruler currently? Part of the criticism was that whilst he had surrendered himself to the police then handed over to the military, which there seemed to be a legal issue, and that's what Dr. Bate had alluded to in terms of the handling of the matter. The opposite ought to have been the case. So can you throw more light on that? And then what is the status of that? Because you've asked for the others to come forward, but perhaps the reason why they are unwilling to come forward is the fear of what would happen to them if they would get fairness of investigation and treatment if they do get into the hands of the military. Can you please clarify that for us this morning?
I think that's really nothing to fear about, because I mean he brought himself up. The commissioner of police handing him over to the Joint Task Force. The Joint Task Force has the police component, and because they are the ones having the mandate to operate, that's why he handed them over. So we have the police components that are there. So it's a joint investigation that is being conducted. We have set up a board of inquiries also from outside to also follow up, and we're sure other questions will be asked. But what we want Nigerians to understand, that we are all Nigerians, we love Nigeria, we put our lives in line for Nigeria, and so we'll not do anything against any innocent Nigeria. We are only after the bad guys. Anyone who makes himself one, we will definitely come after him. And you understand that we have a mandate from the president. If the president gives me a mandate to conduct an operation, I will not ask him why. I will conduct that operation, and then explanations will come in later. That is why I'm in the military. So like I said, the chief is secured, is safe. Nothing is going to happen to him. It's just a few questionings, and then we'll be able to clarify. But I don't want to comment so much, but I can tell you, nobody will tell you he doesn't know what was happening. Okay. Nobody. Okay. Maybe he did not take part directly, but he will not know. He will not tell us he does not have the knowledge or the understanding of what was going on. Okay. But like we said, the investigations will unravel most of these things, and then actions will be taken.
Okay, CG Musa, I'd like to commiserate with the Army once again. It was very, very tough for all of us to see those very gory sins, and that should never, ever, ever again happen in this country. Our commiserations. First, I would like to ask you this.
Thank you very much.
How are the families of these gallant troops faring? Personal experiences, how are they taking all of this? I heard there were some of them, among them that were pregnant and things like that. How are they faring? That's my important one.
Yeah,
Secondly,
yes.
I also would tie this around. I heard there was an explosion around the cantonment yesterday. It says it was a refuse dump or something. I want you to throw more lights on this. But thirdly, most importantly, was it about the community or these nefarious people that were perpetrating crime? Then why did the community have to suffer for it? Why was the community on lockdown? Why didn't the governor get access into the community? Why were they on lockdown? Okay. And what's the aftermath of your actions there? Because we've been seeing all sorts of pictures. I want you just to make clarification. What's the aftermath of your action? Are people going back to Okuama now as we speak? And were lives lost in those communities by your actions? Because, you use the word flattened. Oh, if it was before, we'll have flattened. And that cringed me that, Oga Musa, we're in democracy. We are no longer, a military regime. So should words like that even be used in the first place?
Thank you. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're watching what's ongoing in, you're watching what's going in Ukraine, Russia. You're watching what's going in with Hamas and Israel. We're not doing that. We try to do things differently this time around. The aftermath definitely will be that gradually when we finish the cordon and search operations, and cordon and search operation means we are searching every nook and crannies within the community. Because we know that a lot of weapons, because they have a lot of illegal funds, money from crude oil theft, they have bought a lot of weapons. During the disarmament exercise that was conducted, a lot of them didn't hand over all they had. And because it was in the riverine area close to other countries, they have ways that they also bring in weapons. Because it was because they had weapons, they were able to perpetrate this again. So it is for us to thoroughly clean the community and ensure that no weapons, no explosives, nothing is left there, and that none of them is hiding. And I can tell you that at the end of it, the communities as always will always go back and rebuild. We're working together with all the communities. Nobody is doing anything to impinge on their rights. All we want is that we're conducting a search. Since it's an ongoing operation, we wouldn't want them to come in and then they will be mistaken for being antagonists, and so that they be shot or something. You mentioned the issue of flattened. Well, I use that because I told you during conventional warfare, when countries were fighting countries, it would have been, the way out. I know you read a lot. I'm sure you have watched World War I, World War II. You have watched Desert Storm. You have seen what actions were taken, how communities were decimated completely. But this is Nigeria, and this is the armed forces of Nigeria. So we're duty-bound to protect Nigeria. So nothing will happen. Nothing will happen to them. As soon as we finish the cordon and search, and we're sure there is nothing like that there, they will have access to their own communities to go back. But again, let us take it up truly. Like I mentioned earlier, those communities know these criminals. Some of them benefit from these criminals, these acts of criminality. And so if they say they don't know them or they are not aware, then they are far from the truth. But like I said, investigations will unravel most of these aspects, and we remain very, very professional. That I can assure you. We will not do anything to impinge on the human rights of anybody. The cordon and search operation is just temporal. It will soon be over, and once it is over, we're going to clarify, and everybody will be able to continue his work. I'm sure if we don't do it thoroughly and there's an accident or an incident and somebody is shot, it's going to be the same issue that the armed forces again is killing somebody. So we didn't want anybody to be there. We wanted to make sure that good people are secured. We're only after the bad guys as mentioned. Once again, thank you very much for commiserating with us. It is extremely painful. I can tell you, I barely sleep. Anytime I close my eyes, I remember the families. Most of the wives were pregnant, some 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months pregnant. Now they have lost their husbands. These children will come to this world without knowing their fathers, all because they wanted to protect their country. The children, those kids that are growing up, will grow up without a father. There's so much that can be done. But I can tell you, we will stand by them. The armed forces is there. The president has himself, I'm sure you saw where he attended the burial, to show you his level of commitment. And he has also awarded scholarships, giving them some incentives, houses, and then so many other things, again, the national honor, which is very good. This has motivated our troops to continue to do well. One thing I also want to say is this. We are a professional army. We are Nigerian army, we are Nigerian armed forces, we are here to protect Nigerians. I will continue to protect Nigerians. Sometimes some things will happen and people don't have an understanding, and then, it's open to speculations. We don't follow speculation, we follow others and we follow directives. But I can assure you that we always want to do the right thing. Maybe mistakes might be made, yes, because we're humans. But as much as possible, we try to curtail that. I'm sure you also know that we have standing court martials for all our operations. The armed forces we don't condone acts of indiscipline. If you commit an offense, you go and you face court martial and you are punished accordingly. I'm sure you are aware that just recently, a Major General too has faced court martial and the outcome is being awaited. So we don't hide our own, we bring them out because we want Nigerians to trust their armed forces and to know that we're there for them, day in, day out.
General, which takes me back to the same point about legality. Now, you said it's a joint task operation involving various arms of the security network. But you then said, oh, maybe people speak out of lack of understanding. Now, I brought up that issue because Femi Falana SAN made it an issue. And Femi Falana SAN cannot be said to lack understanding. So at what point is the Nigerian military going to hand over persons who may be arrested to the police? Because it is essentially the function of the police to prosecute. That's one. The second part that I would like to ask you, there is a name that has been mentioned. One, General Amagbein, well, not a colleague of yours. The other general is said to be involved in crude oil theft, and we were told
fake general
that the military had been looking for him from Okuama to Igoromotu in Bayelsa State. Now, what exactly is it about General Amagbein? Endurance Amagbein, his name is. Those two issues.
Yes. He is actually the mastermind. He's actually the mastermind. He's the one who actually planned and executed this with his boys. And, they have a lot of issues of cultism within the general area. So, and again, because I always say that because they were making money illegally, they feel that they are above board. They have so much money they could do whatever and they buy whoever it is that they can. But that's one mistake they've made. I think they've tried the wrong guys. And this time around, the full weight of the law is coming after him and his own team. And that's why I want to also appeal to Nigerians. Please do not support them. Don't provide them any support, logistics. Don't harbor them, because during investigation, if we find out that you are also part of it, the law will take its course on you. On the issue of the police, I have told you, we have a police component. We have a police component, we have the DSS, we have the NIA, we have everybody as part of the task force. So even when they are with us, the police is still there doing its own job. So I don't know which other police. The Commissioner of Police, yes, is not directly part of the task force. So he has handed over to the investigating team to do a thorough job, because it's an ongoing investigation. We cannot be going back to Yenagoa to go and ask questions and come back to come and no. The investigation is carried out in situ so that quickly, whatever information we get is actionable. We quickly move, and that's how it is. But like I told you, the police are equally part of the operation. The civil defense, every other security agency is part of it because it's a joint task force. And that's what we do. For the fake General Amagbein, it's just a matter of time. If he likes, let him run outside the country, we will pick him up. Well, the armed forces is here to protect Nigeria and Nigerians. And that's where we remain focused, and that's what we'll continue to do. But like I said, we have the fullest of respect for human rights of innocent citizens. We will never do anything to impinge on their human rights. The cordon outside is ongoing. It's good that we cordon the area, and that's why it's cordon and search. You cordon the area, and then you search. It's when you are over, then you pull out the cordon, and then you allow whoever had access to those areas. But I'm sure that will soon be over, and then we'll move forward to the next stage.
Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you very much, General Christopher Musa.